All right, we are live and
Yay.
with friends. So, good evening. I'm Dee, and H&D Abroad is a channel where during the week I talk about all things self care and bring some friends along to share their journey as well. But our channel's primary focus is on our move abroad and all the components that we are intentionally putting into our plan to make it a quality life shift and quality experience. And if you are interested in any content like that, or if you're just wanting to find out what's going on this corner of the internet, you are welcome to and invited to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And you all know I have had several episodes about my, I guess I can say my view of myself as being socially awkward. And guess what? Socially awkward people find socially awkward people in the universe. And I mean, the socially awkward Black nomad, Keyoka, is my new homie. Hopefully, she is not a stranger to you. Um, Her information is in the description, but I'm going to let Keyoka introduce herself.
I hate introducing myself. Hi, I'm Keyoka. I'm a writer, I'm a dog mom, and I travel solo. My channel is for all the Black women out there who want to do the same thing. I talk a lot about solo travel, dog travel. I also bring a lot of Black expats on the channel to talk about their experiences living abroad. What's up? Hi. Hi,
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah. So, what was intriguing is that you said you called yourself the awkward Black nomad, and I was like, I vibe with awkward. Well, what's going on over here? And there is so much joy on Kyoka's channel. The first video that I saw of you was dating in Albania. And I was just like, oh, like you have a full life and pets with an S. And I was just like, okay, so what can I learn from someone who it kind of has a similar perspective on their interaction with the rest of the world? So I asked Kyoka to collaborate with me today on how social awkwardness can help you make real friends as an adult. And I promise you, we found each other and there's friendship here and we laugh together a lot.
Oh yeah, we were laughing before we got started. And I appreciate that we're both members of the Big Glasses crew, right? We love
100
sight. We love it.
abs-
We love being able to see.
and I want to have more of it. So,
Mhm.
okay, so let's see. So you described a little bit about your channel, but like what makes being awkward your particular perspective about the world and how you interact with it?
Um, that's such an interesting question. I think for me, and the reason why I started creating content is because I was someone who was in therapy, and my therapist used to have to talk me into going out to places. Like, okay, we're gonna set a goal. We'll do 15 minutes. And if you get overwhelmed, you can give me a call. Like, that's where I was. Okay. I was like, I'm not leaving my house this week. So the fact that I've like now been to 10 countries, 12 without two without my dogs, and I go out a lot. Well, don't be in my business. I go outside sometimes. but the fact that I like can go outside, meet people, and I think I have a great life. I want to share with other people who are socially awkward and introverted, or maybe just have like social anxiety, that it's possible. Like, I was somebody on the completely other side of the spectrum where I was like, I don't like talking to people. I don't want to do anything. And now I have like a YouTube channel and I talk to people all the time. Like,
I I'm not gonna lie to you.
full
I
circle.
I was really I was like, people like me don't get on here and talk. And I described to you what happens after the live, and we were both like, "Yeah." Like, we put ourselves out here because we have something to share, but, like, ooh, y'all, this is exhausting. I mean, when you kind of stretch yourself in this way, for me, it's because I choose to be vulnerable on the internet, like, to share a little bit of myself, and when I do that, like, it take a little bit out of you.
It can be draining talking to people. Like, even today, my friend called me and I didn't answer. And I was just like, I don't want to talk on the phone. Like I said, I texted her and I was like, I just don't want to talk on the phone. And she started laughing and she sent me a voice note. She's like, is this okay? How are you doing? And like just being able to have people on my team who know that I get just tired sometimes, or like that I may get overwhelmed sometimes, and then have them meet me with support and acceptance is a
Yes.
beautiful thing. I didn't have that growing up a lot. So it's really nice that now I can kind of like curate my circle to where like I have people in my corner who love
Who
on
get it.
me. Yeah, who
And
get it.
mhm, and don't make me feel, like, othered. I
Right.
I you know, I we're gonna be talking about doing this as an adult, but feeling othered as a child because just I was a reader, I liked being in my own space, that was very healing for me, it was very and then but also having a friend circle that when I felt like, you know, kind of peopling is what I call it, when I'm ready to people, that there was a friend group that was like, "Welcome back. We missed you." And just kind of we've been able to pick up where we picked up where we left off. But you can't, I see, I'll have to say this. Those friend groups were more out of convenience. We all went to school together, we went to church together, our parents were friends, so we were around each other. And so, but when you grow up, like, and kind of grow out of those intact, friendship groups from childhood, I felt like it got more difficult, outside of, like, academic environments to kind of find my tribe. So after college, I think I just kinda knuckled down because I was like, "I don't make friends at work. I'm friendly, but my friends are not at work. But I need friends," and I denied it for a while, and then things changed. So what was your kind of, process for, kind of navigating friendships, in the beginning?
Um, I was always kind of a loner. I remember being like 8 or 9 years old and my mom like driving by. My grandma used to work at my school, my elementary school, and my mom would kind of drive by to spy on me. And like I remember hearing my grandma and my mom be like, why is Kia, they call me Kia. Why is Kia sitting by herself on the playground? Like, what is she doing? Why is she doing that? Why is she like that? And I've always been like that. I didn't really make my first and true friend until I was maybe 12.
Wow, okay.
And I've had like, but it's just, I've always been someone who has been like in my head or in a book more than, like it's always just been difficult for me to be present with people. Um, and I think now that I'm a little bit older, it's almost like in learning myself, I've been able to learn what kind of people mesh really well with me. And I've been able to like put myself out there more by learning what I like to do, who I like to be around, who I am. It's been a process though. It's been a process.
Uh, I I just, I thought that I might be in the world alone and that I would just be okay with that. And it wasn't until I think there hmm, a series of fortunate events had me to stumble, into people, that just kind of said like my college roommate. I didn't choose her. She and I just got along, and we were like, "We ought to be roommates." But, like, I need a friendship where if I'm in my recharge time, like, you're not gonna, "What's going on over there? You shouldn't be alone. Let me get all up in your face and your space."
Yeah.
If I have some time and there's time between our conversations, she's just like, "Hey, I just wanna know you're good. Send me a text back. That's okay." What did how did your series of fortunate events, um, kind of help you to curate as Marissa has so thank you for doing that because I'm gonna need to remember what the phrase was. How did you curate your circle? How what was the intention in which either you noticed a need or that someone kind of entered and you kept them in your circle?
So I guess it was a lot of trial and error, right? I think being a shy person, being an introverted person, people can be really judgmental,
Yes.
like, and I just have like a strong aversion to being criticized for doing normal things or things that are normal to me, right? So, like,
Yes.
if I want to leave a party early, if I'm like drifting off in my thoughts because the conversation or it could be anything. I mean, low key, it might be ADHD, but if you guys are talking about something and like something catches my attention, I may start like going off thinking about something in my head and I'm not being present with the group. And it's like there are people who are gonna criticize that behavior, and then there are
Mhm.
people who are gonna be like, "Oh, that's just what she does." Like, right? Like we go, hey girl, you all right?
Come on back.
I'm good.
Come
Okay,
back
all
into
right.
the
Come on back. There's this, and those people who do that, I've just naturally gravitated towards. I have a really good friend who I've known almost 20 years now, and she just has stuck around.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get rid of her. I've been trying to get rid of her. She just will not leave. Um, but we happy for her. We're happy for and even in that friendship, right? Like it goes in ebbs and flows, right? So there'll be times where like we don't talk to each other. Like I remember right out of college, I think there was a period where we didn't really keep in touch because I was in another state and life, right? But
Right.
we reconnect and we like are still in the same place that we were when we were 11, 12 years old.
Mhm.
So there's that. I think traveling has also helped a lot. So like when you're overseas by yourself, you probably need to talk to somebody sometimes.
So a need
Sometimes.
came up. Okay, okay, I
Yeah,
see
like
that.
there's a need. I think I was traveling around Europe for a year and I was getting really like travel fatigue and I was missing home and s- nobody speaks English in this country and it's really hard to always leave my house and use the translator app and point at things. And so sometimes it's just nice to talk to people who speak English fluently and like you can talk about being back home in the States and have just normal creature comforts, like you wanna eat McDonald's fries and, like, random things like that. I think when you're away from home for a long time, it helps to have some community where you can just kinda talk about different experiences and, like, compare and contrast your new environment with your old one.
Yeah, yeah, I think, um, sometimes life creates situations or circumstances where you recognize there's a gap, where you that could be filled with friendship. One of the things that I felt really intentional about this conversation, and you and I kinda were going back and forth about it even up until this morning. I was like, I don't think I want people to overcome their social awkwardness. What and I don't know if this is just the 50-plus-year-old talking, but I was just like, "You are who you are. You were created, um, your life and your circumstances, even the not so pleasant things, curated you to be who you are." And so I think valuing the pieces that we have, to give and share with others is special, and so I'm not asking anyone to come out of their awkwardness, their socially awkward, um, stance, but I think there are attributes like our quietness that could be a good balance in a friendship, um, that being a good sometimes being socially awkward means I'm more into listening than I am talking, and so that makes me a unique kind of friend. Have you been able to match in your life where something that you would consider to be normal to you, as you said, the normal to you, but that has maybe championed you as a good friend to have?
Um, so I think in a way, it's kind of related to what you said, right? So I definitely listen more than I speak, but also because I've been sort of a loner, I have this contentment with solitude that I think a lot of extroverted people may struggle with.
Mhm.
Um, and so like when I'm traveling by myself, there's a sense of peace in wherever I am. And I can also I'm able to like tap into my emotions. So I know what my happiness feels like. I know what my joy feels like. And then when I have conversations with my friends and they're telling me something, I'm able to kind of help them tap into themselves in that way. So, if they're telling me about a situation and they'll be like, "Isn't that crazy?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
because you said like I'm going to parrot back what you just said.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what emotion you're probably feeling that you don't realize you're feeling. And we're going to connect the dots for you." Like I think I'm someone who really helps people. I don't like helping people. Well, I don't wanna say that. I don't wanna put that out there. But I help people kind of come into themselves because I've been in myself for a while, if that makes sense.
I feel like being socially awkward, maybe it's a combination of my personality and good therapy. Being able to identify my emotions and sit with them and, like, really, churn them to understand myself. Um, for some people, that can seem really solid or stable, in some aspects, where sometimes, I feel like my husband has more extroverted qualities, and he was just like, "But you're so steady." And I'm just like, I didn't see that as valuable before. I didn't see, um, the way that I reflect,
But,
um,
uh
being
so
being important.
that's something I've been thinking about recently. I wonder if you I don't know, I think we are all mirrors. So, like, we become
Mhm.
different things depending on who we're in connection with. So maybe like your husband brings out your peaceful side, whereas like to you, you're like, I don't see, I'm doing all of these things probably because it's like really chaotic on the inside. But he only sees the peaceful side of you, right? Like he sees this part of you because he's brought it out. Whereas, like, maybe if you have married someone else, they would get a totally different version of you.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. Okay, I'm writing that down. I'm gonna reflect on that a
It's
little
not a
bit.
fully formed thought, but it is something I've been thinking about. It is something I've been thinking.
Well, Marissa is the therapist. She can tell us if there's a therapeutic undercurrent to that. But I believe that. I think the people around you. I mean, when you talk about curating a circle of friends, I feel like what I've been able to say more recently, especially after joining the Exodus Summit community and really connecting with women who are in this kind of transformation space, the sharing space is um, like it- I didn't even know I needed a person that did that in my life, and they're able to do that for me, and I wonder what I reflect back. To see that as full circle because I'm not just trying to um, in this concept of friendship, there's reciprocity. And the concept of friendship for me is being authentic, accepting other people, but also feeling accepted. But Kyoka, you have done one better. Like, I don't know, it's a different kind of away aloneness when you're saying, I'm gonna live outside of the country, I'm not gonna have the ability to speak, the local language, new food, am I gonna be able to find the things that bring me comfort? Because finding comfort my little alcove in the world is very important to me as, a neurodivergent person, as, someone who to be socially awkward, I need some rest time, where I'm in a normal, comfortable space. So what propelled you? Hmm, what propelled you into this new space? And then you're making all kind of connections with people. Like this is I think you just did your second or third dating um episode. So I'm just like, she out here in this world, y'all. You can get out here in this world and make connections and make friends and push in new ways and open new areas. So what's that all about?
Say I call these power moments, right? So I lost my mom in 2022, and it was like there was a dismantling of all of the structures that were in place, right? Because my mom was my foundation. I just couldn't deal with anything. I didn't want to work. I was dating a man at the time. I was like, I don't really like you that much. I might as well dump you. Right. And also, I wanted to travel and see the world. My mom never left the US. Actually, that's a lie. She went to Cancun one time on a cruise, but that was like she was in her 50s. So I was like, I want to travel and see the world. I don't want to be afraid to do things. There was almost I'm not sure what happened, but I feel like I had the capacity to dream when I was younger, and somehow, somewhere along the way, I lost it, or at least it got stunted, right? Just by life and the realities of life, poor Black people coming from New Orleans. And I was like, I'm going to start living my life. For me, I'm going to start doing more of what I like. I'm going to find out what it is that I like. And there's all these places I've heard about. I want to go see what they look like. And so I made a list. I didn't get to all the places on my list. I will though. And I just I just left. I just left. I guess like the way I looked at it was okay, I have a few friends here in the US. I have my sisters and my aunt, but they could come see me. We got phones. I'm at home. I'm at home in Texas. I could be at home in Ireland.
Mhm.
I feel like that too. Like if you're gonna be depressed, you might as well be depressed on a plane. Like if you're gonna be depressed in the south of France, girl. You have,
On the
take a nap.
Riviera, that's right.
Right. Right. You could, if you're going to take a midday nap, you can do a midday nap in China. Go ahead. Right. No reason to be stuck in one place. So
Facts,
when you
facts.
adopt that way, when you adjust to that way of thinking, there's endless possibilities.
And I'm open to that,
Right.
and I'm open to that. I'm open to that. Hearing about your mom, that's pretty like, that's an earthquake moment. Um, was there a process of resetting? Was there a process that, mm, that a friendship connection could or did support you through that transition? I'm saying this because I think a lot of us that are socially awkward, con- I convinced myself that need. I didn't really need deep friendships. I could get along with casual, people that might notice that I'm not at my desk or, might say, happy birthday, but, that deep, meaningful um, connection where I stop and say, no, how are you really doing? That I didn't feel like I needed that. Are you able to identify places in your life where you said, "No, I really did see that. I had a need for friendship."
Yeah, so I actually lost a lot of friends after my mom passed away because I needed more emotional support than other people were. I don't know if they weren't willing to give it or if they didn't know to give it or what, but I was like, I need you guys and you aren't really showing up for me and that doesn't feel nice. And then I remember I remembered other times where they didn't show up for me, but we're supposed to be
Mhm.
friends. And so when my mom passed away, I was like, okay, that's the final straw. I don't have to deal with that. But it's also, it showed me that there is a need for deeper connection because I'm not married. I have I have family. I have my sisters and I have my aunt. But when I think about the people who, I break a leg, I need somebody to bring me groceries. I'm in another country. I just need to expand the circle, right? There needs to be people in place who are gonna check up on me. Um, just and I think the issue with my mom, I bring it up because it was difficult for my sisters and my aunt to be supportive of each other emotionally because we were all grieving. We all
Right.
still are grieving, but like it's hard when they're grieving and I'm grieving and then I'm getting triggered or I'm getting really emotional when they really need to expel. And so you kind of need someone who isn't related to you who also feels that same pain to kind of lean on when there's
Mhm.
a big loss like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. Yeah. And you brought up something in a previous conversation that I wanted to bring forward now. You said, uh-oh, did I lose it? Oh, hold on,
The,
hold on,
the
hold
best
on.
of us.
Oh, shucks. You told me. Y'all, it was good too. She's always dropping gems. Hopefully, I'll remember by the time we're
Oh my
done.
god. Don't put that out there. Now people are gonna expect me to drop gems. A lot of pressure.
You do, even if it's not intentional. That's okay. So, not that I remember what I was talking about, but what I did want to get to, um, making friends doesn't always go as we think. You probably you're probably not saying, "I'm going to go make friends." Like, I don't that
Definitely.
would be a special kind of person. But
Wait, but I don't know if you do this. Have you ever been in a space and you're like, that person looks like they would be my
a
friend?
good friend, yes.
They look like they'd be my friend. I want to talk to them, but I don't know what to say. I think that's a problem. Like, I'm always in my head about it. And then sometimes I get the courage and I'll go speak. But like other times, I'll never speak to them. I'll just like creep out. I may stalk them on social media, like Marissa Price, who may be in the chat.
I was about to use Marissa as the example. You can't take my example. Okay, so both of us are stalking Marissa.
I
Okay,
have
yeah.
so many. I call these people friends in my head, and I'm like, we're we're actually best friends, but you don't know who I am. But we are
Yes,
best friends.
like, you see me, you
Right. And they
understand.
don't
You
and they
Yeah,
have no idea who you are. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Well, there's the side where you're like, "This person could be my friend," and then there is the fear of rejection. Like, ooh, and rejection isn't just sometimes rejection is, "Oh, that's nice," or, like, you try to be funny and it falls flat. I mean, um, does the fear of rejection when you're trying to connect authentically come into play for you? Or and if it has, at some point, how have you been able to navigate it? Because I think when I look at, kind of the ranking, fear of rejection is kinda at the top when you there's a certain level of vulnerability, which means rejection's gonna hurt.
I okay, so I kind of have a not fair answer because I'm a writer and a part of the writing process is we have to pitch a lot. And I get a lot of rejection. I get a lot of ignored emails all the time. So it's like I almost have a little bit of armor towards that. But I do understand why fear of rejection could be really intimidating, except I'm hilarious and lovable. So I don't know why anybody would reject me. I might reject you. And I have done like, have you ever been on like a friend date? Like, and you're like testing out the other person, to see if you guys vibe, and then you realize very quickly that they are not one of your people.
And I can't run fast enough. I hope they're not watching. Okay.
Say their names. What did Monique say? Leave that in the playground. Just kidding. Okay.
You know, I want to say, to me, what I have learned is, okay, so yeah, people say nothing ventured, nothing gained, but there is a level of vulnerability, and people have the option of accepting or not accepting. And I think the key that you just shared is that y the try. You're you've gotten it's like, okay, the first time it was maybe a little off-putting, but over time, it's just like, "Oh, bounce off, I'll keep." So, I don't want people to feel like if it doesn't work the first time or the second time or the fifth time, that it's not worth the try, right?
No.
Oh, no. No, no, I'm talking about not with the
Is
same
what?
person. I'm
Oh,
talking about
okay.
with just people. Yeah, don't try no
Yes.
5 time. If they what do they say?
Listen.
"I believe you the first time."
Exactly. Listen, we don't need to keep on at it. All right? There's no reason. And I want to add to that. I always say this: you will never say the wrong thing to the right person, right? So if a person is open and for you, they will be for you. They will be in your life. That's it. Period.
Okay, so I thank you, universe. Kyoka was telling me about being in the airport and needing to problem solve. In the States, it's the middle of the night. Where you were, you needed to just, I didn't need somebody to solve the problem for me. I needed someone to listen and so that I could solve this for myself. And you kind of said there was a time when I did that by myself, and then there was kind of this before and after that you were sharing with me. Can you kind of give a little bit of context um, for that and how friendship or connection or just finding your people has made a difference?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Exodus Summit community, for one, has this wide network of women all over the place, right? The situation in particular, we were, when I say we, I mean me and my dogs, were traveling from Denmark to Germany, literally an hour flight. Okay, this is why I got beef with the Germans. But anyways, that's a separate story. But anyways, we were at the airport. Literally, it's like 5, 6 a.m. They reject us on the flight. They say, no, your dogs can't come because your carrier isn't big enough, right? So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I've been checked out of my Airbnb. I I I hired a car to bring me to the airport with all my stuff. I have all my stuff here. I was walking around with a check bag. I got two dogs who are already irritated this morning. Like, what am I gonna do? And I panicked, right? So this was in October. I think I've learned last October. But I think I've learned since then to just use your network, right? So now I've been fortunate enough to I have a lot of friends in a lot of places. And the friend I mentioned earlier in this video is actually she was calling me from Denmark. So she's a friend that I have in Denmark. And now if I'm in that situation, I have somebody on the other side. I have a lot of friends in Europe now, right? To where if something like that happens, and even if it's, hey, can we spend a night at your place while I figure out this travel situation? Or, hey, I just need to talk through something. I have people who are also single women who are solo travelers, can understand, have probably been in that situation before, and will move heaven and earth to help me out next time, right? Which is why you need to build community. Okay. Not
100.
because you need something, but like, you know, just talking it out with another person. Like two heads is always better than one, you know? So having somebody to just strategize with is so powerful.
Agree. Agree. I was like, that we cut our trip short in Mexico City because I had we had an incident where our Airbnb was flooded and the hotels were like stupid sky high. And I was like, but I don't want to let nobody know this is our problem to solve. And got our tickets redone so that we could leave in a day. Th- like the day after it happened. And I told our friends on the way out, and they were like, I got a buddy that's got a place who you could have just, and I was like, oh, so I think one problem that I struggle with as someone that is socially awkward is I'm used to solving my own problems. As an adult, you solve your own
Definitely.
problems, but having friends means that I am willing to share when I have a need, not with the expectation that you will help me solve my problem, but that I'm not out here alone. And when I look at the concept, and all of the data around loneliness, it's a very people are asking for some pretty simple points of connection to feel connected. Um, and so, I appreciated you sharing that story because I was just like, now I've got friends in multiple time zones or people that like you said, I've got that I classify as friends in my head that I feel like I can reach out and say, "Hey, you know, can you help me solve this?" Or jump on the WhatsApp chat that, yes, we are all in multiple time zones and somebody will jump on with me. So, I mean, the benefits of being in that connected community for me, I think I'm only beginning to understand how impactful um, this level of vulnerability that I'm able to share and try to connect with people. So, how do you handle friendships that don't align with your authentic self? So, when you are saying, "Are you down with my tribe?" Are you when you're trying to put them in that category and you find out that somebody that you thought was on the path is not on the path, how do you deal with when friendships aren't meeting your personal need?
We block. What do you mean? Is it we just go ahead and block? We just
I will not admit to any of this, but yeah.
because I will give you a conversation. We can have a conversation, a meeting of the minds, so to speak, right?
Yep.
And if in that conversation I feel like you are not solution oriented, what we doing here? Okay? What we doing here? Saying. And and maybe it's not a block. Maybe it's just a fade to black, right? Like maybe we just kind of okay, I don't need to meet her anymore, right? We don't need to unfollow each other on socials. We could just all right, I'm not gonna watch your stories anymore. Might mute you. I don't like to see people. I'm sorry, you fall out with me, you fall off the face of the earth. I'm not, I know they say, you're supposed to give it to the Lord and you're not supposed to hold hate in your heart. I don't hate nobody. I just don't see them. Okay. I'm not gonna see you anymore. And it doesn't even have to be we fell out. We could just not have we just could not have mutable personalities. That is totally fine, girl. I'ma see you in the afterlife. Okay.
I am I am all about protecting my energy.
100%.
You will not pull me. That's what really hurts sometimes is to see someone that you have connected with really hurting and in a hurt spiral. And that's okay. But when you're continuously in a hurt spiral and you don't want to, like, it takes so much of me to like maintain me. Like, I can't get caught in your vortex of um, energy that is exhausting. And so I'm asking you this because I guess there's the approach of I don't see you anymore, but
Listen,
for
I'm
those of us,
toxic. Everybody, I'm also low key toxic, okay? But I will say this. I have depression and anxiety. It is a lot of upkeep, okay? I don't medicate, I meditate. I
yes,
meditate, I do yoga, I drink my water, I try to work out. I have my regimen, I read my books, I take naps, I create a safe space within my house. So anybody who is trying to puncture my energy, I don't have capacity for it. Even my homegirls, if you having a bad day and you need me to support you, ask me where my headspace is, and I'll decide if I can give you that support that day. Some days I just don't have it because right now it takes a lot for
Mhm,
myself, and that's
mhm.
okay.
How do you come back from a okay, so maybe I should build to that. Some of the
What you finna
things
ask me?
some of the things that some of us who are in the socially awkward space deal with is, kind of anxiousness about friendships, like what especially when you're trying to figure each other out and you're trying to understand, like, am I too much? Is this too much? Um and that you can kind of go through several iterations of that, where, as you all are trying to where I feel like you're trying to find your friendship rhythm.
Mhm.
Does that sound weird to you or
No, that makes sense
relatable?
to me. That's relatable because I think for me sometimes, so like I'm actually a strong communicator. I'm a strong listener, but I'm also like I am tapped into my needs, and so I usually can communicate my needs really well, right?
Yeah,
Um, I also require that of people in my vicinity, right? So if I'm not meeting your need, I need you to communicate that to me, and we'll have that vice versa relationship. So for me, I in those initial stages of building a friendship, I like a little bit of validation, right? Like, are you having like, is this great for you? Because it's great for me. I really enjoy our time together. Like, verbally give me gas me up. Like, so we know we're on the same page. On the same page.
I
So I
I
get it. I
it
think being socially awkward, it's like there's this difficult it's difficult to communicate your needs. And I think part of that is you haven't processed how you're feeling.
mm,
So you can't verbalize it because you haven't really thought about how I feel because you're so focused on how another person is feeling,
yeah.
probably because in our childhood we were probably judged a lot. So we had to think a lot about how people are perceiving us instead of how we actually feel about something.
Ooh, I had to learn to run from that. I don't really care what kind of getting to the point where I don't really care what you think, like, how
Mhm.
I feel is most important, and that's really liberating, but in the meantime, when you're in the struggle and you go through those, anxious times, how do you have you ever had to make space for saying, "I'm sorry," or "I wanna come back around because I recognize that my actions were in response to my internal struggle and not the struggle that I have with you."
Yes, but I would say in those moments, sometimes you need the space to realize that, right? Because when your anxiety is high, you're not you're not you. Right?
Mhm.
You're not the you that cares about other people, or you're that you that is putting your needs to the bottom to try to like support the other person, but you're not really being authentic in yourself,
Mhm.
right? So that's why I always say, like, if there's been some friction and you're feeling a lot of anxiety about talking to the other person, don't talk to them. Go inward just for a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of time. Because I always think when you ground yourself and you start thinking about how am I feeling about this situation? How do what are my thoughts? Focus on yourself,
Yeah.
and then you can have another conversation. Then you can have a conversation with the person.
Your attachment style shows up in your friendship. If you
Yeah.
are, what is it, anxious, avoidant? I mean, like, we think a lot. I think socially awkward people think a whole lot. sometimes overthink, but
Maybe too much.
but recognizing your patterns and attempting to try different approaches, I think is where when we were talking about, to try and try and try again, not with the same person, but definitely, it's a dance. You're learning. It's a learning process, making real friends. And okay, so
Well, I want to add something else to that. It's
okay,
also it's also deciding to be friends with that person. And in that decision, what does that mean your contribution is? So
mm,
like, not to put my business on Front Street, my friend and I got into, and this is the friend I've had for 20 years. She and I had like a disagreement. And I'm not wrong, but she was offended. Okay. So I had to think, listen, this is my friend. And whatever it was that I said, she did not receive well. So
mhm,
ultimately, it is not saying that I'm wrong to be able to apologize to my friend who I want to keep in my life, right?
yeah,
When you decide that you want somebody in your life, you're going to have to make certain concessions. Unfortunately, that's just a part of dealing with people. If you want to be around people,
come on now, preach it.
sometimes you're going to have to apologize. Hey, I don't like it. I never feel like I'm wrong, but we getting there. Okay. We
We all
growing. We getting older.
That's right. We growing. We growing. I I want to say when we're talking about making real friends, we are friendly. We make important people connections, but real friends, authentic friends that you go deep with are not going to be a crew of 20,
Yeah.
a crew of 10, a
Oh, I
crew
had
of
to let that go.
a crew of 5. You might have some homies. It's like ride or die 5, ride or die 3. But recognizing that, um, like I said, and I'm comparing friendships the way I thought about them in childhood is, you want that big group of people as a mature adult. I recognize everybody, the journey of friendship, the stony roads, climbing mountains together, wanting to throw each other off the mountain, but clinging together through some really, through what life throws you. It's going to be a small group, and that it is worth having people who know you. Like somebody can go, Kyoka's been more quiet than normal, more absent than normal, or I can tell someone that can tell the difference between my jokes as defense and my true jokes of joy. Like
Right.
there is something in the human condition that craves that level of knowing. Are you willing? That is what this conversation is are you willing to make that kind of space in your life authentically? Like from wherever I am, I'm reaching toward or opening a door to say, I'm, and I feel like I've shared this continuously on my channel is on my vision board. I didn't know I was looking for friends, but I, there's a cluster in the far right side. Now, those who are in psychology and understand why I put it on the right side, please give me some insight about that. But on the far right side of my vision board is this cluster of friendship kind of messages and images. And at the time, I didn't see that in my life. But I believe in doing that vision board, I told the universe that I was open for that. And I would definitely say, with putting your intentions out there, I don't think it's necessarily that I'm going to find someone's name is going to be lying down and that's going to be my, that's labeled, that's going to be your friend. It's I'm open to friendship. I'm opening myself to make connections, and those who are supposed to show up in whatever ways they show up, I'm going to try to be open to that. But I can't, I mean, if I'm struggling with attachments, I'm struggling with attachments, and whoever this group of people are going to be able to help me navigate that. I said all that to say I made some friends in the Exo Summit community and started to feel a little anxious about, more than a little anxious, about some things happening in my life and then how I was relating to them as a part of that. Two friends, just
What event? What is
I
this?
was just like, close doors, close windows, lock thing. I was just like, I totally did this so wrong. And then two other friends, I was like, I sent them voice messages and they were like, "Girl, what are you talking about? What are you saying? What is like,
Friends, drop
that is
down in the
not
comment
even."
section. Identify yourselves. We're very curious over here. Who is
And
it?
I was just
Say
like,
I.
s I was like, "Yo, this is how you know your community is down with you." Like, they go, "I don't know where you got that from. If you're struggling, let's breathe it out together. Um, I didn't see whatever it is you said, you thought you said or inferred or whatever." And I was just like, "Oh, this is how redeeming friendships can be."
Mm.
Where are your up and downs in the making real friends journey? Has it
Um,
come have you had that come around the corner kind of moments?
where I've been surprised that people are there for me. Yeah, I mean, but it's so part of it I think is being socially awkward is a weird game because it's like on one hand you have this aversion to people, but you also probably crave deep connection. Like it's probably why it's crazy how that works out, right? Like you want something so badly, but you do everything in your power not to get it. So I think it is this like tug and pull of like I don't know. I have to catch myself like when I'm being so like for me, I don't know, I can be anxious. It depends. It
Mhm.
depends on what it is. It really depends on the person. But,
Yeah.
like, I know the person I'm thinking about, I tend to be a bit more avoidant, and the second I can tap into, "I'm avoiding my emotions right now because to I don't want to acknowledge that I've done something wrong or that another person might be hurt by something that I've done." So in me doing that, I'm dismissing that other person's feelings, but I'm also trying to protect myself from feeling something negative
Mhm.
because now this is my thought process. I have to stop it. The second I'm like, oh my God, she texted me a huge paragraph. I'm not going to respond. I'm going to turn my phone off. The second I feel that in my spirit, I have to call her. Right? I have to call her. Listen, I think we're having a misunderstanding. I'm so sorry. Right? But likewise, if I'm feeling anxious about something, like checking in with my friends, I have to really like there's so much of this that means being in tune with who you are and how you're feeling about things.
Yes.
Because if you can if you can realize how you're responding to something, if how you're having that emotional response inside your body, that can guide you with your next steps, you
Yes.
know? I hope I answered that question. I think it's literally up and down. All
It
the, like I don't think I'll ever fully figure out how to be in community with people without being terrible at it, but I try. I've been trying.
yes, the try. I don't think I'll you can make a friend at any age. You can lose friends and gain friends. You can learn. That the whole thing that I'm hoping that people hear is that being friends is a learning process as you learn more about yourself, know more about yourself, um, understand your emotions, yourself better. Like, I think it can make you a better friend, and I was so happy to have this conversation with somebody who kind of comes at life in a similar, from a similar perspective to hear, your story and to be encouraged by it. Yeah, I thought over 50, like, I was gonna have so much about life and living life down pat, and I was like, "Girl, you're stumbling. You're slip showing," if you old
But
enough
that's
to
the
know
gag,
that
right? It's like
phrase.
nobody you slip and showing. I know about to slip and showing, but that's the gag, right? Because it's like you never. It's never going to be perfect. You're always going to be in a position of a student. You're always going to be the student. Sometimes you can be the teacher, but it's like it's never going to be solid. You're never going to be one thing at any stage of your life. I wish I had known that when I was like in my 20s or in my teens,
That part.
but some of it I feel like you just kind of grow into as you get older. Like as you grow into yourself, you become a better person outwardly because you're more secure in yourself.
Yes, yes, and it's worth the journey. It's worth it based on what your expectations are and needs are for yourself. But I can tell you, connecting, because I'm going to have you share what your advice is for finding your tribe that accepts your authentic you. But I can tell you, just from my perspective, like this is a community. The community of people I'm connected with is an ever evolving gift. And I'm going to have needs in the future, even though I have a partner, that cannot be fulfilled, should not be fulfilled by my my husband. Like I need friends. It's I have three. We have three children. My kids are. We're growing in our friendship, even though they are my kids, because I'm willing to make myself vulnerable in that way with these young adults. But I also feel like there are more slots in my life, that varying levels of friendship can fill. And I'm hoping that I give it the run. That I give continue to give friendship the run. So how would you say you have found your tribe, your community of folk?
Well, I'm very happy we live in a world where there's internet, right? I've met a lot of really great friends online. And I think a lot of my friends I've met in person, but I have a lot of really good friends who I've never met in person.
Mhm.
Um, and I think also if you put yourself out there just a little bit, people really meet you, like even me having a YouTube channel, I've had so many people say like, "Oh my God, I relate to that." Or, me too, you know? And I think it's just because I took that chance to just put myself out there a little bit and I did it while being nervous. I did it while being anxious.
Mhm.
Um, Same thing with travel. Like you really just need the smallest bit of courage to just do something and then that'll take you far. So
people who do the things you love. I mean, I have a crochet community, I have a sewing community, I
I
have
crochet.
travel community. Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now we definitely have to connect. So I'm a crafty at heart, but I those are things that when you're in like I can talk because it's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really interested in. Don't get me in a room with some other birth workers, some other doulas, and we can, I mean, like, but other spaces, I'm a little bit more reserved. But I, I, I think finding your tribe sometimes is finding natural things you connect with. And so
That's a big
I
that's
just,
a big thing.
yeah, and you're right. There's a level of connection that social media can give and provide. But y'all, you may not believe YouTubers are not all extroverts. Extroverts kind of could probably struggle a little bit more talking to a little dot.
Really.
But people who are neurodivergent or socially awkward, we've kind of been talking to ourselves and to the world in different ways, and this is just the newest medium that we're using to share it. So yeah, because you come across so calm, so even, so like chill, and
I'm gonna take this video and send it to someone and say, look, they think I'm chill. Like, look, she thinks I'm calm. Look at that. But I've had people like recently there was the Dallas meetup, in-person
yes,
meetup for Exodus Summit.
yeah.
And I there were some people who recognized me in that meetup and I was like, oh my God, hi, but like having to like talk to people. Like if Stephanie wasn't there, I would have left early. Stephanie, having to talk to people, it freaks me out.
Yep.
Being asked to take a picture, even just thinking about it, I feel like I'm breaking out in hives. Even just thinking about it.
Yeah, I went to the Houston meetup, and if Yolanda hadn't been standing there, I'd been like, "They'll be better for not even knowing that I was coming," but she had told people I was coming, so I was just like, "I gotta at least show up for my friend." But y'all, it takes us a minute, but when we show up, we're showing up, and we're gonna need that recovery time, so
We
we
might
might
leave
not
early,
we might leave early.
but we'll be there.
We'll be there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I am so glad you agreed to share with my audience tonight. You all, please do not miss a live on Awkward Black Nomad. Set those notifications because you want this kind of joy regularly showing up for you. So please like, subscribe, set the notifications for the Awkward Black Nomad. Or do you still go live on Fridays? I
I
don't know if
haven't
you still
because
do
I got
that.
burnt out. No, I got burnt out.
Okay, okay.
No, I got burnt out, so I quietly stopped doing that. But
Fridays used to be my favorite in the early morning, so we miss you, but I understand. Trust me, I understand. I understand. So, but if you want to have this kind of authentic content, please get to know Keyoka. She is a beautiful creative. Can you talk a little bit about? Did you want to share a little bit about your freelancing and anything else that you're doing in your world?
yeah, sure. So professionally, I work as a copywriter. And basically I write web content, blogs, social media, email campaigns, basically using keyword research to help web pages rank on the Google search engines.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm kind of building a freelancing business. I really need to do better about that. But I've been in the field for like 7 years. I know my stuff. Um, and I talk a little bit about copywriting on my channel. I have had people ask me more, like ask me to put out more content about it, but
Mhm.
it's just a lot of work. Is what it is. It's a lot of work. So it's like I'm working and then also building out content about it, trying to teach people how to do it is not it's just not something I like. But if you want to hire me for my services, you can go to
About that.
my website.
I promise. She is 100% a gem, and what I appreciate is that you're moving authentically in ways that sit well with you, and it's making way for the things that you love to do, like you were talking about, travel. So, she's been in some beautiful places. So, yes,
Yes, I'm still live
and
a lot. Oh, I'm going live on Thursday with I'm talking to Vashana. She's a retired vet who is backpacking across Europe. We're talking about road trips. She's driven across Ireland and also she's currently driving across France, visiting the wine country. So
oh, yeah, well, don't miss it, y'all. Don't miss it. Yeah, t Maya,
yeah,
copywriting is a
Maya.
lot of work, so
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanna work on a novel. It's always been my dream to publish. So trying to fit that into doing all that. I'm planning another bop. I got a lot going on. 2025 about to be lit.
try not to put too many irons in the fire for 2025, but yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening, so get on board, y'all. Thank you to everyone. I didn't even get a chance to mention everybody, but thank you, to everybody that joined today. Thank you, Keyoka, for giving, your evening. She had a long day. She was cooking when I called her earlier, so, maybe she'll share a little bit of, foodie love on her channel as well. So
Y'all don't wanna see me cook. It I'll cook and it don't be edible.
we won't know that.
So,
All you have to do is say, "Mm," and we'll believe you.
I don't wanna put it out there that I can cook because then people will start expecting it.
Okay,
So,
okay,
but
I
anyway,
feel that. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a good evening. Bye for now.
bye.